look? Hi fans of high quality entertainment. Mollie is here, and this is her idea. Congratulations.
No, it was your idea.
Was it my idea? It was my idea. And, you know, you like the Beatles music, right? What's your favorite Beatles song?
Let It Be.
Let It Be? You just thought of the first one that came into your mind.
I know, I like that song.
Revolution Number 9?
No, I don't like it.
And so Mollie is going to ask me some Beatles questions that she, like serious ones, that she has no idea about. And I'm going to try. Not that I'm a total Beatles expert. Like, I know some, not everything.
Well, it came out because I was asking you kind of questions, and you said, stop asking me, this would be a great video.
Yeah.
It's always got to be
It's all about video.
It's always got to be a video.
Don't talk to me. We'll do a video. Roll it. First question, and then I'm gonna say I just
was asking you random. You know, I don't know what we even brought it up, but then I was like, I had so many questions.
Yeah, you were asking me some pretty good questions that I'm excited to. But like I said, I might not.
Someone who doesn't know like anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Barely anything, right?
Yeah.
Because I said like who started the Beatles, or like did they come together on their own, or were they manufactured? Or I know Paul and John knew each other, right? But you said no.
Well, you said they knew each other before the others. Yeah, okay.
So?
I might even be in error with what I'm not, like I said, I know the Beatles history, but I'm not an expert like some of the Beatles fans out there. So here we go.
That was my question.
Oh, sorry. What was the question?
I said, were they brought together on their own? Did they create the band on their own?
What happened was Paul friended George. They met, I think, on a bus, and they had an interest in music, so they were friends. And then John was playing, and there's actually a picture of when Paul. It doesn't show Paul meeting John, but it shows John playing at this church event with his friends, and he's up on this truck or whatever, and they're playing. And Paul came by and he watched them, and afterwards they talked, and I guess Paul knew some guitar chords that John didn't know, and he knew lyrics. So anyway, John was impressed with Paul and his musical ability and all that, so they kind of became friendly. And John wrote songs, Paul wrote songs, and before he'd friends or whatever, family, I write songs, nobody would care, right? But when he met John said, I do too, and so that was the connection.
And then Ringo.
I hope I got that right.
And then Ringo.
Ringo comes in later, baby, okay?
Okay.
So this was, see, I'm going to get the year wrong. I think this was like 1956, 57 when they met. And like I said, so Paul knew George already, so when they started to play together with the idea of a band, Paul said, hey, I've got this friend of mine that plays guitar, and so it was the three of them and this other guy, Pete Best, and they weren't called the Beatles at first, they were called Johnny and the Moondogs and other things, and so Ringo came into the picture later in 1962. I should have Googled it.
That's okay, I don't need dates.
Yeah, you don't need all
I don't need dates. Yeah. Okay, I just have them all random. Was there a song that the band wished they'd never recorded or released?
Well, individually
yeah,
possibly. Like
there wasn't.
I know that Revolution Number 9, I don't think Paul, probably maybe George, didn't want it on the White Album, and John wanted it. And so, he actually wanted it released as a single.
Well, it's long enough. How long is Revolution Number 9 too? How long does it run?
Revolution Number 9 is, I believe, around 8 minutes long.
You made me listen to it. And I said, are all the Beatles, or were they all vegetarian, vegans?
No.
I know Paul is.
Yeah.
But did they all, why did Paul go vegetarian, vegan?
Well, I think when he met Linda McCartney.
Yeah.
And yeah, because in the 60s he used to eat meat and everything. He wasn't a vegetarian. And then when he met Linda, and after the Beatles, they were on a farm in Scotland, after the Beatles break up in the early 70s. And you know, they had sheep and goats and whatever, and
Like John and Yoko weren't vegetarians? Or
I think
they,
yeah,
why.
they might have been. They were on these diets and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I've gotten all of the answers
What I was
wrong.
saying, Paul McCartney won't give out interview or autographs anymore, right?
Right.
Will
Okay.
Ringo?
No.
He won't either?
No. Ringo made a video a few years back saying, and
Yeah,
he
but
seemed
he's-
kind of mad, right? He's saying, no more autographs. I think it was because,
Oh yeah, you did a video on that, I think.
Yeah, because, you know, you'd sign autographs and they'd be up on eBay. That was part of it. Plus, he's just tired of signing autographs. But he seemed a little on edge in the video. And then at the end, it's funny. He says, peace and love, peace and love.
Yeah, I remember you did a video on that. It's like Glenn selling Paul's autograph.
Yeah, I know. Glenn Calloway from the
He's
basement.
one of them, yeah. Okay, what song was the song that made them kind of break out? Do you think there was one?
Well, they were popular in England first in 1963 with "Love Me Do," but in America, it's when they were on the Ed Sullivan. Well, before the Ed Sullivan Show, they were on the radio and they had "I Want to Hold Your Hand" was a big hit for them. That was one of them, and so I don't think I'm the
You think
Beatles expert I thought I was.
Maybe a good question.
But that was 1964. Once they were on the Ed Sullivan Show, like all of the musicians after, you know, almost all of them, that was one of the reasons they got into music was because of seeing the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
I thought that was just for America. Like, that's what, like, they were big in England?
It
before
was
they
shown
went
in England. But yeah, they were already huge in
Yeah,
England.
that's right.
Yeah.
Were any of their parents involved in their
I
careers?
don't know.
These are questions.
Yeah.
I could Google everything, but you wanted to make the video.
Yeah. No, they were all supportive. Of course,
I know Paul's mother was passed
Paul's
away.
mother passed away. See, the other connection John and Paul had was John lost his mother when he was like young. She was hit by a drunk driver, a police officer off duty who was drunk, and
knew that.
you know, yeah, Paul's mother passed away, so they had that connection, both losing their mothers at an early age. And then, yeah, George's parents early on, and they were supportive, and Ringo's parents, yeah.
And they have siblings around too, or no?
Yeah, Paul's got a brother, Mike McCartney, who was in a pop band in the 60s, and he made an album that Paul produced in the 70s, and Mike McCartney's kind of pretty well known. And then,
But there wasn't like family issues with all of them, like trying to be famous because of their, you know what
No,
I mean? Like
I don't think
family
so.
fallouts and
No.
stuff? No, okay. Who's the youngest and who's the oldest?
oh boy, I think Ringo Starr is the oldest, and back in the day when all four were alive, George was the youngest.
I wouldn't have thought Ringo was the oldest.
Yeah.
What is that, Paul?
No.
Who do you think is the best actor of all of them?
Well, Ringo did movies after the Beatles, Caveman, which was kind of a semi-hit comedy. Me personally, I guess they would say most people would say Ringo.
Ringo, yeah.
Yeah.
Which album took the longest for them to record?
Ooh.
I don't know. I was like, sounds like a question I know.
I think, was it Sgt. Pepper's? Beatles fans out there? I believe it was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Do you know their middle names?
Originally, John Winston Lennon, and then he changed it to Ono Lennon. James Paul McCartney. James is actually Paul's name.
Yeah.
James is actually Paul's
Did
name.
he always go by Paul though, or did he go by Paul when he got?
I think
He just always
earlier
went
on.
by Paul.
Yeah.
I know
I
people
believe.
like that go by their middle
Yeah.
names.
And then Ringo was Richard, I'm not sure of his middle name, Richard Starkey. And George Harrison, I don't know his middle name. I don't know anything.
Who was the first to have a child? Well, all of them. Or get married and then have it.
John Lennon, and it was kind of, back, the girls after them and all that, so nobody wanted to know that John Lennon was already married. And somebody on the Ed Sullivan Show put, sorry girls, he's married, like when John appeared. And you know, I think it was their manager, Brian Epstein, didn't want that. It was like, yeah.
Ruin their, yeah. Did all the girlfriends get along and everything when they were together? Or did that
Yeah,
cause
I
problems
believe so.
between
No,
them?
I think they all got along pretty well.
So when they had kids, did that create a problem though too? When getting married and having kids?
Well, no, because like John's son Julian Lennon, Paul wrote the song "Hey Jude" about him. Hey Jules,
Yeah.
don't you know? It was like to support him because of his dad going through the divorce and all that. And yeah, and George Harrison's son, Paul McCartney's pretty close to, and he's close to Sean Lennon. And
I just mean in the early times, you know, when that
yeah, I don't
changed
think
dynamic.
they're kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay, how did John and Yoko meet?
Yoko Ono was like an artist, like you know, and she'd have an art show or whatever, and something about climbing a ladder, and at the top of the ladder is yes, just the words yes, and John it was something positive, right, and so he just liked that, and they just connected with her art, and they were just friends at first. And
Wasn't one of them married or something at the time?
John Lennon was married.
Yeah. Okay, it's coming to me. I know some stuff, or I hear it along.
Shut up! We're doing a video.
Okay, so after John was killed, right, in New York,
Yeah.
did they up the security for the rest of the Beatles?
I'm sure they did, but I think they kept it kind of. They wouldn't say too much, right? But I'm sure.
Did they probably had threats on them before.
Yeah, and George Harrison was almost killed a few years later when he had an intruder in his house, and yeah, his wife had to smash like a lamp over his head or something, and yeah, he was George Harrison was pretty badly hurt. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I know that. I just sort of learned that John's ashes were scattered in New York City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that.
Oh, I didn't know
But,
that.
well, I just wondered why. I guess because he was killed there.
Well, he loved New York City.
He loved New York City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a. Yeah. And then where is George buried?
I don't know, baby.
Okay, I'll Google that. Okay, so did they all do drugs? And if they did, who was the worst?
They all did drugs. Yes. You know, in the 60s, LSD and everything, and I think John Lennon, well, yeah, probably, who knows, but I think John Lennon went overboard in the 60s with like LSD and all that, and then they kind of smartened up more in the 70s, you know, except for like pot or whatever. But Ringo was an alcoholic for many years.
Ringo?
And then he cleaned up in the 80s. And he's been really good ever since. He's 80 and he's still looking really good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He didn't seem the oldest to me.
Yeah.
Who do you think's the most emotional Beatle? Who was the most sensitive and emotional and like you?
I think probably Paul McCartney. Yeah.
Can any other members speak another language?
Not that I know of. They probably know a little bit of French or something. Yeah. You were going to ask me how, like, where was Yoko when John Lennon was killed,
yeah.
right?
I guess I asked you that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell the
remember
story. They were recording. They left in a limousine or whatever, and they went to the recording studios, December 8th. And John Lennon, they were working on a single by Yoko Ono, Walking on Thin Ice. And John Lennon put awesome guitar work on it. And so they had those tapes when they came back to their home. And they got out of the car, and John walked ahead of Yoko. And that guy, Mark David Chapman, called his name. He turned or whatever, and he'd given him an autograph earlier when they went to the recording studio. So Yoko saw it all.
Is that man still alive? He's in jail.
Yeah,
now,
he's
right?
in jail, yeah.
Did anyone else get hurt during that?
No.
It was just John.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know if you can still rent the rooms that they did John and Yoko did the bed-ins? Can you still rent the hotel rooms where they did that? Those hotels still there?
Yeah, it was just probably
Because they'd be pretty.
yeah.
Beatles fans would
They're
like to
probably
stay
still
in
around.
those, right?
Yeah.
I'll Google that too. Okay, I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I started asking about Heather Mills, and you told me not to.
No,
not to
no,
ask.
don't go there. You're gonna ruin. Oh, so many Beatles fans are gonna be mad at you.
Why though? But why,
Well,
what was it
because
like?
a lot of not everyone, but I think a lot of them thought that she just used Paul McCartney, got married to him for the money, right? And Paul was kind of, he didn't sign a what do you call it? Prenuptial agreement.
They have a daughter together.
They have a
right?
daughter,
Yeah.
and he's with her half the time or whatever. Yeah. So, excuse me.
Do you know if they ever got in any physical fights, any of the Beatles? Like not.
Well, in the Get Back documentary, you know, they're reading this newspaper clip about George and John getting into a fist fight, and they're reading it, you know, laughing about it, and the only time they got violent was, I think, when John threw a plate at George, or George threw a plate at John earlier, like in the 60s
There wasn't
or whatever.
any big scuffles then. Yeah.
No.
Who do you think came up, or maybe you know, like who named most of the songs and the albums and things? Or they do it all together?
All together, yeah. Okay. Rubber Soul, the album Rubber Soul was Paul's idea. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was Paul's idea. The White Album, I think, was Paul's idea, actually, having the white cover. So, yeah.
Whose idea was the Two Virgins one? And why did
John and Yoko.
And I said, was that banned anywhere? That
Yeah,
cover?
well, the album cover was
Covered, right?
covered
Yeah,
in
I
a
know.
brown. So yeah.
I saw that video you did too,
Yeah.
where you were shocked.
Sorry about the lighting here. Maybe it's a bit too bright, but it says Two Virgins. Now, take this out.
Who was married the most? Paul? Because he's on.
Paul was married twice.
No, 3 times.
3 times.
He's married to his third
That's
wife
right,
now,
too.
right?
Yeah,
I think
3. Heather Mills. Forgot about her. George is married twice. Ringo was married twice. And John was married twice.
And who, I just wrote one, I said, who do you didn't like performing live or doing interviews the most?
George Harrison, yeah. Even in the Get Back documentary where they perform on the roof, it was, you know, when they were all kind of deciding whether to do it or not, and then George was saying, well, I'll do it, but it's funny too, and he said, well, I'll do it, but I don't want to go on the roof.
Well, did any of them, you know, like in Rush, right?
Yeah.
Did any of them get to not do interviews if they didn't want to? Like,
Yeah, Neil
Peart,
Peart
he didn't do a lot of them, right?
he did a few, but not very many. He didn't like the limelight. He wrote a song called Limelight, actually, about it. Yeah.
that's what I mean. So was there anyone that opted out sometimes of interviews or like that?
Yeah, George
mostly?
was more. He didn't like the fanfare and all that either,
Yeah.
like the showbiz stuff. Yeah.
What was the biggest venue they ever played?
Shea Stadium, honey. Good question.
Oh, just
And it was sold out, and it was back then it was the biggest crowd. You know, it was a baseball stadium.
Was it just for the Beatles, or was
Yeah,
it?
it was just the Beatles. I think other bands were there, but
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all. I was just gonna say was Obla Deep Obla Dot, was Mollie a real person, or was Mollie the
he liked Paul liked putting names in some songs. Honey, it wasn't about you.
I was thinking about, yeah, it was about me. Yeah. Or drugs,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that what it's about? Women
Yeah.
or drugs?
You were going to ask about Revolution Number 9. You said, why did they do it, or
Yeah, why? Why'd you make me listen
that was
to
John Lennon's idea. But
Yeah.
it's using tape loops and different sounds and all that. But Paul McCartney used to do it in the '60s before John Lennon did, and but John Lennon did that idea, and like I said, I don't think Paul McCartney wanted it on the way. Yeah, I'm sure he's happy with it now. But, yeah.
And what was Strawberry Fields about? That was
Strawberry Fields Forever. Strawberry Fields was like a children's charity home or something, and John Lennon used to go like to a park. It's Strawberry Fields.
Because
it's
that's
a
the
park.
New York where he's buried. Is
Don't touch me.
Oh, fine by me. That's
Yeah, Strawberry. It's in
in New York. That's
in
his,
Liverpool.
His ashes
Yeah.
are scattered, right?
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
There's a
Okay.
memorial, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of it, don't they say something like someone buried Paul or something
Yeah.
like that? What was that? All
When the rumors of Paul is dead came out in the late '60s, one of them was near the end of the song when it's fading out. I buried Paul. But on this anthology where you can hear what John is saying more clearly, he's saying cranberry sauce. Yeah. If I played that to you, the end of it, I said, and he says I buried Paul, and you'd hear it in your head like, yeah, he did. But then when you hear it more clearly on the anthology, it's cranberry sauce. Yeah.
I want to hear that.
Yeah. Okay, baby.
Yeah. Like a hidden meaning thing, right? Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's all my questions I had. I mean, I'm sure I'll have more, but was there one I asked you? You can't remember.
I'm just thinking what other. You were a little confused with the Get Back documentary? No? You know what that's about?
Yeah.
Well, after the Beatles broke up, the Let It Be movie, they were the main idea was they were recording this, showing the Beatles making an album because Paul wanted to do something different, and then do a TV show or whatever. But that never panned out, and like George wasn't into it and all that, like performing, doing a TV show. And so when the Beatles broke up, the movie Let It Be came out, and it was dark and kind of, not all of it, but a lot of depressing stuff, and so us Beatles fans would think, oh, it was such a bad time back then for them, and they weren't getting along. But then when they redid, what's his name, Peter, Lord of the Rings director, when he got the footage, they had cans and cans of old footage, and Paul and Ringo were thinking, kind of leery about it and all that. And he said, no, you guys are getting along and lots of fun and all that. And not that there's not little tiffs and all that, like George walked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and it's all 8 hours of them. And one of the best moments in the documentary is you see Paul McCartney creating Get Back.
Like, you showed me that part, yeah.
Yeah, like he's on his bass guitar and then he's making up words, and at one point Get Back. Yeah, he's making it like. Yeah.
So your favorite part, you think?
Yeah, one of my favorite parts.
Part,
yeah. And then the Beatles rooftop. Yeah.
And I was thinking too of who is there some Beatles fan or somewhere that has the most memorabilia of the Beatles?
Oh, of course, but I don't know
You
who,
don't know.
baby.
Yeah.
No.
I just didn't know if there was some well-known like
Beatle Brad.
Yeah, like I didn't know.
Glenn Kellaway from the basement.
Or museums and things, right?
Yeah.
Like the glasses that John was wearing when he was shot. Where are they?
Yoko Ono has
She
them.
has them,
She
yeah.
did a solo album a couple of years after he passed away. It's called Season of Glass, and the front cover, it's on a windowsill. It's his glasses, and they're all bloody. And people were offended, of course, by it. But her reason is, look, this is real.
Yeah.
This is what happened, right?
They're probably still in that
Yeah.
state now. They're still like that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, baby. Yeah. I don't know, baby.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all. Just
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So.
Who would you want to be friends with out of all of them? That's what I asked. The other one was the question, right?
What if they were all alive?
Yeah, who would be most likely to be your friend?
Who would most likely be my friend?
Okay, who would like you and who would you?
Not any of them.
Like, who would you do you think you would get along with the most through interviews and like just their personality and stuff?
Well, I think they would all be good friends. I mean, George was loyal, right? He was friends with Tom Petty, and I mean, he was one of those ones, like, he's honest, right? He doesn't take any BS. He didn't take any BS. So he'd be a good friend. He'd be, if he's your friend, he's your friend. John was good. Like,
It's hard to.
no, but John, when he kind of retired from music the last 5 years, he's friends with David Bowie and Elton John, and I think he kind of lost, those friendships. He was a house husband raising Sean and everything. Mm-hmm. And Paul McCartney, he's friends with everybody. And Ringo Starr, any of them would be good friends, I think. Yeah.
They'd be lucky to have you as a friend.
They would be lucky. Paul, if you're watching this.
Yeah. Best friends forever. So yeah.
So that's it. Thanks for watching. Do you have anything else to say?
I don't know what I'm allowed.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. What's the next line?
Forever.
No, nothing is real.
Isn't it say strawberry fields forever? I'm not wrong. Not totally wrong.
Penny Lane is in my
Heart.
Oh. Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
Take a sad song.
And make it better. Remember, number 9, number 9, number 9. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye. Oh.
This was your idea.